Okay, I got an old battery here from March 2014. So it's a very huge battery. It's an Everstart. I think it's a 5-year warranty, deep cycle or something. I don't know if it's a deep cycle, but I couldn't charge it. I tried putting a manual charger on it, and I left it on there for a week, and I got like 2.7 volts out of it, which means it's got about one good cell maybe. So it's really messed up. What I'm going to try to do is restore it, and which obviously it's not going to get restored all the way, but just good enough to give it like 200 or 300 cold cranking amps. If it gets more than that, it's going to be really great. This thing I think is about 1,000 cold cranking amps, 900. It's a huge battery. So even if it gets partial, it might even get up, if it does a really good job, it might get up to 500 cold cranking amps, which is a half capacity for this thing, but it's enough to start any car. So what we do first is get some baking soda. We're going to drain out everything, put some baking soda in it, let it sit a while. Then we're going to put the Epson salt on it. Then I'm going to put a manual charger on it running 2 amps. And we'll probably do some charge cycles. And then we can test it out with the load tester and see what the heck happens with it. But maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But I figure why not? I've seen so many good results with this. It's crazy. Why does this work with Epson salt? Maybe because it desulfates the plates. And I already tried, like I said, using a manual charger on it for like week or 2 weeks, 2 amps. Put a slow charge, try to fast charge. It just wouldn't bring nothing back. It wouldn't even go up to 7 volts. It was like 2.6, 2.7 volts. That was it. Less than 3 volts. So one cell is working. The rest of them are all completely sulfated. And I also tried the desulfating charger on it. I don't know why this thing screwed up on me, because I actually did have a trickle charger on it, but not all these trickle chargers are the same. Again, I want to recommend, don't get one of these things, like a battery minder with the desulfator. These work way, 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 way better than a standard trickle charger, in my opinion. Okay, I just took some baking soda, mixed it up in some of this distilled water. I think the average battery, they told me, takes about a half a gallon. This is probably not an average battery. It's a 29, group 29. Then I saw on the side of it, it said 840. So it's a, what is that? Cold cranking amps, 840, and it's a deep cycle. So, but it's, I wouldn't bother doing this with a smaller battery because they're cheaper, unless it's a really expensive smaller battery. That thing's a monster. So if it works halfway, it gives you like 400 cold cranking amps. That'll start a car easily, no problem. Okay, so I just put some, we call it, the baking soda, distilled water in there, and this little funnel, filled it right up to the top. I'm gonna let it sit. So that's what it is. It's a deep cycle. I don't know, 845, 29 DC. This is a big, heavy battery. It weighs a lot. It's the only reason I'm gonna try to revive it a little bit. We'll see what happens. Okay, the baking soda solution has been drained. It's been sitting in there for an hour and a half. And then we put a solution of the Epsom salt. I did 3/4 of a gallon. A bigger, smaller battery, an average battery probably takes a half a gallon. I put about 4 of these in there. Maybe you need 3 or 4 of these in an average battery of this scoop. It's like a coffee scoop. Made sure it was really thoroughly mixed. Put in here this little funnel. Put these 2 caps on here lightly, and we'll put it on a dumb charger. It's got to be a dumb charger, a charger that is manual, doesn't have any electronics in it, at 2 amps, and see what happens. Okay, I got it on a manual charger. This is a Schumacher manual charger. You don't need to get one this big. It's they got 2 amp, 6 amp chargers. Just put it on a 2 amp. Doesn't register nothing. Right now it's 9:11 in the evening on Saturday, May 13th. Just leave it on here and see what happens. One good thing about this though, with the Epsom salt, I got it on this plastic can. I don't have to worry about any kind of battery acid. So I don't know if this is going to work, but I would not do this with smaller batteries, because usually they charge you by the size of the battery for get a new one. But this thing is so huge. I think this is like I don't know, it might be a $200 battery. And if I can get half that out of here, this thing would easily start a V8 engine, if I even get half the power out of this thing. Okay, it's merely 45 minutes later. It's about 10 o'clock at night. It's almost 10. I put a multimeter on it and checked it across there. It was a little after took the clamps off, it had about 6 volts in the battery. So that doesn't mean much in itself, but I'll load test it. But I also could see this was on 0, and you can see it's kind of picking up, so it's taking a charge. This is going to take a couple days, so you'll see in 2 seconds though. Well, this is about a day later, about 26 hours later, or 25 hours later. You can see the charger? It's no longer sitting on 1 amp. And this thing is actually starting to get warm. And I don't know if this battery's any good, but we'll try taking a look at what the voltage is right now. And if it's not going up, I'm going to say it didn't work. Well, in this case, it's not working. I could probably give it more time and stuff, but I don't think this is going to work because it's still at 3.4 volts. That's pretty bad. It did do a little bit. It was at 2.7, but whatever. So, you know, all the internet claims, like sometimes this works, but I think for the most part it doesn't work. Because if it worked that good, you would see everybody doing it, right? Isn't that a common sense? But I think it does work sometimes, depending on how bad the battery is. But usually if the battery is really that dead, it's got like some such deep sulfation that the cells basically are shorted out, and you're not going to be able to charge the battery no matter what the heck you do, unless somehow you were able to, I don't know, take the cells apart and clean in between them or something. I mean, if they had a battery that you could, like, it had like a top, the whole top came off, and you can like re-glue it, like, and it bolted down through like some long studs on the side here. You could take the whole top off and like pull the inside out and wash it out. We're all between the plates. Maybe it would work, but this is not working. So you'll see. So the point I'm making is it doesn't. I think this does work sometimes, but you know, if you're getting this stuff off of YouTube, you're probably seeing all the good cases. You're not seeing an average what actually happens. Because I was skeptical of this because of that's why I never really did this before. Because if this works so good, everybody would be doing it. You know, why buy another battery for $150 or $120 or whatever the heck it is, especially even if you only get another year out of it, right? So it's like, I don't know how many times it works out of how many times, but I'd say most of the time it's not going to work. And this is a case where it did it right and it didn't work.